I'm actually surprised I'm here for the match reaction because towards the end of that game, I was thinking I wouldn't make it to the match reaction. I'm still recovering. Still recovering. I suppose we should talk about that. Hibs 1, Celtic 2. Brendan Rodgers finally breaks his Easter Road curse. Just about. Just very, very nearly didn't. A lot of drama. Like and subscribe, all that jazz. We have a hell of a game to talk about, a hell of a performance to talk about, and it's a huge win for Celtic to say the least. However, the manner of how we won the game, oh wow, that's going to be up for conversation. Before we go any further though, just in case, I don't want to hear anything about wearing a fur coat. This is not a fur, it's a fleece, right? It's a fleece. It's a fleece. Don't think I've taken some bold fashion statement onto the channel. No, just to make it perfectly clear, it's freezing up here, right? Give me peace. Wow. I don't really know where to begin. That is a huge 3 points for Celtic. It's the kind of game, it's the kind of result that come the end of the season could be pivotal to either winning or losing a league title, which is far too early to determine where we'll be. The performance over the course of the 90 minutes, not good enough. The fact we had to rely on 2 penalties to get us our goals and win us the game, not good enough. Ultimately, it was a painful game to watch, let's be real, cut to the chase and saying it, a really difficult watch, and it's building on these worrying performances, which has been noticeable for Celtic in recent months. I thought that, at the start of the season when people were asking questions, we managed to get through things decently well. We did have a couple of good performances in there, but now for a couple of months, things have been concerning, and that's today as well, which adds on to that. However, I do like to look at it at the same side as, it's a tough place to go. It's a tough opponent to come up against. You aren't expected to win these games easily. But at the end of the day, you have to be a hell of a lot better than that. And relying on 2 penalties should never be the standard that we're setting here at Celtic. And this season, it feels like we're getting away with things a little bit. And that's exactly what happened with tonight's performance. We got off big time. Let's be real. And as you know me, I've been one of the more patient, the more understanding Celtic fans. I've been one of Brendan Rodgers' biggest backers. And I've been, very quiet on saying anything bad about him. But in these games, it's hard to turn around and say, yeah, we're doing well, we're playing well. We're not, and it is a hell of a lot of luck on our side tonight to come away with 3 points. And as I said, to look at it with the glass half full approach and to look at it as the optimist is that, thinking of it like, well, these games have to happen in a course of a season, but we've had too many now. Hibs have had a poor season. We struggled. Ross County have had a poor season. We struggled. When we lost to Hearts, they weren't doing that well. We struggled. For some reason, we are making this far more difficult than it should be. We have too many players that aren't playing to the best of their abilities and letting the side down. That was evident in the park tonight. And ultimately, we aren't playing football that's good enough. We aren't playing attractive football, but at the same time, take attractiveness away from it for a minute. We aren't playing winning football. We are scraping past teams. We are kind of clawing for results, and from going from being a treble winning side to that ain't good enough. The thing is, we got away with it tonight, but there's a hell of a step up needed. We need to improve, and we need to improve fast. I don't know what's happening at Lennoxtown Monday to Friday during the week. I don't know what's happening on a day-to-day basis. What I do know is we can't get away with this until May. We can't. We simply can't. We need to be better. And I'm caught. Maybe it's blind confidence, and you might moan at me for that. I know people have moaned at me for some of my comments this season, right? But maybe it's blind confidence. I am confident we can do better than that. I am confident we can take it up a notch. But for some reason, week after week at the minute, there's so many players who look like they don't want to try. There's a system being played that isn't getting us anywhere. Brendan Rodgers is a manager who's succeeded at the highest level in the game, in the Premier League, with Celtic in the past. He needs to use that now, that experience of being a top tier manager, and adapt and change and do something that's a bit different. Because right now, this ain't going to work. We will not make it to May. We will not make it to being champions if we keep going on like this. That's a wake up call tonight. I say it's a wake up call. We've had too many wake up calls, but that tonight for me is the one that I'm like, oh God, I don't know if I can take much more like that. I really don't know. And that's not me jumping on the bandwagon of, I hope Rodgers walks or I want him gone. You know my opinion. I don't want him gone. And that ain't going to change yet or anytime soon. But I don't know if I can take these results. It's no good for the old ticker. And I'm only 23. So I can't imagine how some people older than me are feeling when we watch games like that. Anyway, shall we talk about the game itself? Shall we try and talk about what happened in the game? Oh, roller coaster. Here we go. For all it means, I actually thought we started the game pretty well. I thought we were good in the opening 5 minutes. And we were going into Easter Road with that horrible record of not winning there under Brendan Rodgers. And to start the game the way we did, I actually, thought to myself, confident here. And we obviously got a penalty early on. Now, I've already seen people disputing, is it a penalty or not? I'm not having this tonight, right? Usually I come on and I'm a wee bit more diplomatic. That's what I'm looking for. Not democratic. Christ, it's not an election. I'm a wee bit more diplomatic in my views, and I'm a bit more like, try to play devil's advocate. I try to see it from both sides tonight. Both of them are penalties. There's no two ways about it. The first one that we're going to talk about right now, he nearly killed the lad. Alistair Johnson. Thoughts with you. Recover, please, because that was a sore one. You cannot say, I've seen Rangers fans suggesting it's a clash of heads. How's that penalty? You can't call it a clash of heads when he comes in so late and with nowhere, he's nowhere near the ball. He's nowhere near it. He's basically gave McAllister a kiss. He's came in, he's skyrocketed into him so late. That's like saying that it shouldn't be a red card if a tackle is late, or it should be a penalty if a tackle is late. That's the same sort of situation we're talking about here. It doesn't matter if it's a clash of heads. It's so late, it's timed poorly, he's endangered the opposition. I mean, Johnson's probably concussed, for Christ's sake. It's a penalty. The second one we'll talk about a bit later on. Both of them are penalties for me. I can't see any world in which they're not, to be quite honest. I'm not having head clash. A head clash is when both players go for the ball at the same time. They're both, at least decently close to it, and an accident comes about. It's still an accident. I'm not saying he deliberately went out. I'm not saying he maliciously went out his way to attack Alistair Johnson, but you can't get away with it if you're that late. It's a foul, and that's that. We take advantage. Adamida scores the penalty. It's a perfect start to the game, and then it all goes downhill. I must say, Adamida, liking the look of you, son. I know everybody's been kind of judgmental, including myself in the signing of you, but it's a good start. Positive coming off the bench last week against Aberdeen. Scores 2 penalties tonight. Calm, cool, collected. No nonsense, no stuttering. Just puts his foot through the ball and scores it. He gets us a lead. But from there, why? Why do we take the foot off the gas? Why do we stop trying? It's the story of our season. We can't do it. We just can't. When we go up 1-0, we don't seem to build on what we do. We just seem to sit back, pass side to side. There's no intent. And that lets Hibs grow into the game. Even if they're not doing much, and even if they're not great, we're not troubling them. We're not worrying them. We're not doing anything. And that was the story for the rest of the first half. I don't think that we were awful, but we certainly weren't good. We had control of the ball. Yeah, we had control of possession. We were dictating the tempo of the game. But Hibs had a couple of chances in that first half. And that set, I think, a very dangerous precedent for Celtic as we went into the second. The second half, Hibs, I'll be honest and say it probably should have won the game. When they got that goal and they made it 1-1, we were backs against the wall. We were poor. We were really, really poor. We didn't have anybody stepping up to try and go and get us back into the lead of the game. And Hibs saw a team that were weakened. Hibs saw a team that were kind of licking their own wounds after conceding, and they went for it, and they had a really good couple of chances. And they probably should have scored a couple of them, to be quite honest. And if you're playing another team in a different day, they probably do score those chances. We got let off big time, but we were so poor. It's not the mark of champions to play the way we did in that second half. I just thought we were terrible, to be quite honest. It went from bad to worse, as I titled the video against Aberdeen. It really did. It went from bad to worse. We just looked so out of it. We were sloppy in possession. Our defending was weak. Hibs were getting the best of us in so many ways. The goal that we concede is really kind of a summary of how we defended, I thought, in the second half. We were just weak, lazy. Welsh gives away that foul. He shouldn't be in the position to give away that foul. It was a needless foul to give away. He misjudges the flight of the ball. He pulls the player. It's a stupid foul. and it leads to, it's a cracker of a strike from Dylan Levitt, don't get me wrong, but it's a goal that should never have came around. We had very poor defending, and they took advantage of it with the set piece. The ball comes to Levitt, bang, one each, and they were in total control after that for me. We were really, really poor. And we had to get quite lucky towards the end, didn't we? Once again, to talk about penalties, it's another clear one. It's 100% a penalty. The biggest part of the conversation was is it in the box? Of course it was in the box. They showed it a million times on the highlight that it was in the box. So there's no conversation there. He is late into the tackle. He misses the ball. Kyogo's had his shot by the time he's made contact. It's a penalty. There's no disputing it, but we'll create that conversation. The conspiracy's on. So, yeah, 2 stonewall penalties tonight for me, if you ask. And I know Rangers fans are like, that's you can't, it's no stonewall, you're delusional, blah, blah. If you don't think they're penalties, then you're crazy in my eyes. Honestly, I could not see a world in which they're not given. And Adam Ida once more steps up to the spot and wins us the game. It was another well-taken penalty. Celtic done the right thing after it. They didn't do anything stupid. They weren't sloppy. They didn't do anything that we would regret. And I had the fear that we would have, because you know what Celtic have been like recently. You know what they've been like in that game. But we held the fort well. We seen the game out. And we get a massive 3 points. A lucky 3 points. And I'm not going to beat around the bush when I say it. It was a lucky 3 points. I can't sit here with a straight face and tell you that Celtic played well enough to deserve all 3 tonight. I think Hibs should have won the game in the second half. But we were lucky that they missed some big chances. We were lucky that Joe Hart came up with some big saves again. Yeah, it was a torture session of a game to watch. But aye. There's too many players at the minute that just don't... They aren't doing it for me. They aren't at all. Liel Abada's cameo today was embarrassingly bad. I know he wasn't on the park an awful long time, but he was on the park. And he was terrible. He wasn't the only one. Matt O'Reilly has vanished the last few games, and I've seen a lot of people digging into O'Reilly as if like he's not allowed to have he can't play 10 out of 10 performances week in, week out. It's not possible for a footballer. It's, he's not Lionel Messi. We're talking about Matt O'Reilly here, and I understand that he's going to have poor games, but he's been on a run of poor games now, and when we are struggling, you're relying on somebody as good as him to kind of pull you out of ruts and pull you out of situations, and he's not been able to do that the last few games. Maeda's technical ability once again shone through tonight in moments, but I'm glad to see him back, I suppose. But he wasn't incredible. McGregor, I thought, was quite poor in segments of the game. I think some sloppy passes, and he went into bad wee runs, and then he'd get better. He was some good tackles and stuff. He built on some confidence in moments, but he was poor at times as well. I think there was a number of players who were poor tonight. Kuhn, not even sport, but he was rotten. He was terrible today. And once again, I'm not going to stick the knife into him and say that he's rotten, he's done. I don't want to see him again after playing. He's not even played a combined 90 minutes, I think, for Celtic yet. I'm not going to say that he's not good enough. But he was really poor today. And when you don't... On the wings at the minute, we have nothing. And that's a struggle for us because we're very reliant on our wingers. But it was nice to see Kyogo come off the bench and make an impact. I thought that Tony Ralston came off the bench and had a decent game. And Joe Hart, I've not got to speak enough about him in this match reaction video, but he was huge tonight. There are a couple of big saves again from Joe Hart, and they do go under the radar. But in moments like tonight, in these kind of games, those saves are huge, and Joe Hart managed to pull off a couple of them. So, props to him. But we got away with one. It's as simple as that. We'll leave it there because we'll probably have to go in depth more about it tomorrow. And this is obviously just the knee-jerk post-match reaction that we have. So we'll let the conversation settle, the dust settle, and we'll revisit this tomorrow and see what people are saying. But we need to improve big time. And as Roger's biggest supporter sitting here, known for being one of his biggest supporters, I am going to be honest in saying, Brog, son, you need to improve. You need to get this team playing better football than that, because we cannot survive till May doing what we're doing right now, and it's as simple as that. But aye, we win. Like and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.